Shannon and I were talking about uh, some scripture this morning, and just wanted to share something with you. And it's found in Luke chapter 7, verse 11 through 17. And so it reads, "So soon afterwards he went to a town called Nain," and this is about a widow's son had just passed away. And his disciples had a large crowd that went with him. As he approached the gate of the town, a man who had died was being carried out, and he was his mother's only son. And she was a widow. And with her was a large crowd from the town. When the Lord saw her, he had compassion on her and said to her, "Do not weep." Then he came forward and touched the bearer, and the bearer stood still. And he said, "Young man, I say to you, rise." And the dead man stood up and began to speak. And Jesus gave him back to his mother. Fear seized them, and they glorified God, saying, "A great prophet has risen among us, and God has looked favorably on his people." And this word spread out through Judea and all of the surrounding country. And this bit of scripture here that I just read, we talked about this morning. This is a situation that we're going through right now. And this is, it's, you compare it, it's very real. Talking about a woman who was already had lost her husband, and now she just recently lost her son. And there's a lot of that going on today. And it's getting worse and worse and worse, and there's a lot of hopelessness, and there's a lot of fear and anxiety. And this has touched all of us in different ways. I seen a video last night from Ecuador where people were carrying out their dead in the street and strolling them to and from hospitals because they were being turned away. There's just no the structure and everything is falling apart. People are getting very discouraged and very just feeling hopeless right now in this time. So, when you hear about things like that, and you see them surrounding you, but they're not really affecting you. They're not touching you right now. But when it does, it's tough. So right now we're just hanging on, and we're listening for updates and all these things that go on today. But you can really get something from when you read the word and you apply it to your life. And as we've seen here, it talks about Jesus raising the widow's son and giving her back to him. The last part of the scripture says, "The dead man sat up and began to speak, and Jesus gave him back to his mother." Fear seized them all, and they glorified God, saying, "A great prophet has risen among us, and that God looked favorably on his people." And this word spread out through all Judea and the surrounding country. So this was like the start of his ministry, and people began to see, and these crowds were assembled together to see this, so that they could see it with their own eyes. You talk about a dead person being raised from the dead. You say, does it happen today? And this word is not for us today. It's something that was done long ago, but I don't believe that. I believe that Jesus is saying yesterday, today, and forever. And that's what faith is all about. It's believing and knowing something is real, something's true, and no one can take that from you. I don't care what the situation may be. When you go through something, when something touches you, and you've been healed, you've been touched, you've been made whole. I had back problems for years, and I can remember it clear as day. I was at work, and my back was killing me. And I mean, this went on for a long time. And I finally said, I had enough. I mean, I prayed like I never prayed before. It was something that really just came from the heart. And it was a pain that I lived with for a long time, back to my military days, carrying rucksacks and weapons on my shoulder and being in awkward positions. But I prayed, and the second that I got done praying, my back, I was healed. I mean, I was totally healed. Do I have aches and pains now? Yeah, but nothing like I've ever had, back in that time. So since then, I've been trying to do things to keep my posture right and all that, to try to stave off that pain that I had. So it's just something that we shared this morning. No one can take away from you what you believe. I don't care. Everybody, we all have opinions. We all have things that, situations that we deal with in our lives. But this is what we're going through right now is real. This is what we're going. It may not hit home like it's hitting some other parts of the country or some other people or just different parts around the world. But I just wanted to encourage people that be encouraged. He's real. He can heal. He can touch. He can make whole. It just depends on where you're at here. So.